So what we saw yesterday with the U.S. government, Anthropic, and the Fable model is pretty close to a perfect demonstration of what I've been writing about a lot for the last few days in terms of the relative safety risks of open versus closed models and centralized versus decentralized models, right? And my point has been, like, even if you want to lock down your closed and centralized models, it's not really how things are going to work given the realities of modern technology and modern geopolitics, right? So yeah, let me review what happened. So Claude has Anthropic had come out not long ago with the mythos model, which was especially good at hacking, right? And this is part of the ongoing tumult in the security world where AI models are getting better at hacking, and AI models are also getting better at fixing systems to prevent hacks, right? And this is a security arms race, which is both inevitable and problematic, can be worked around in the medium term by provable by construction software, right? But I mean, Mythos seems to have been very good at hacking. Other models are also very good at hacking. I felt from the beginning that this whole noise Anthropic was making, like, this model is too dangerous to release. I mean, I felt from the beginning like this is while coming in part, I'm sure, from a sincere feeling, there's also an aspect like, we're going to say this is too dangerous for you to have, and then when a couple months later we give it to you, you're going to feel like, I'm getting the most dangerous thing in the world. Yeah, right? And if you go way back into the prehistory of language model space, I mean, OpenAI, before they launched GPT-2, I think it was making a bunch of noise like, this model may be too dangerous. We're not sure. We're thinking about whether this model GPT-2 is too dangerous to release to everyone. And then when they release it, everyone's like, wow, this thing must be very powerful. And you know, it was great. It was an amazing step forward, like Mythos. Neither of them is like the supermind that has the risk to become Skynet, right? So like what mix of sincerity and marketing is in this big tech fear-mongering? I mean, I'm not quite close enough to the labs to figure out. I know a bunch of people working there, but they're not the ones who are deciding this sort of policy. What I can say is it's certainly being interesting how this is unfolding, right? So Anthropic released, I guess just a few days ago, Fable, which is like the Mythos model, but partly disabled, right? So when you ask a query about something dangerous, presumably including cybersecurity or bioweapons or something, right? When you release a query about something dangerous, it falls back to some lower grade model. And I mean, that's an okay thing to do. I mean, honestly, we don't know what mix of models these big tech services are using under the hood anyway, regardless of what label is there. It's been clear, like, Claude Opus has gotten smarter and stupider and smarter and stupider and smarter and stupider, sort of randomly, very annoying to those of us using Claude models for coding, because the model that's really good at coding became worse at coding a month later, then better a month later. So, I mean, playing these games on the back end of the models is not new and kind of fits in with the marketing narrative thing, like, oh, this is too dangerous, but here it is, try it if you want the most dangerous thing in the world. On the other hand, this is intersecting interestingly with the dynamics between Anthropic and the U.S. government, right? Because you remember right around when, let's see. Anyway, it was a couple months ago, and Anthropic was in a back and forth with the Trump administration, where finally Anthropic is like, we're not going to allow the U.S. government or U.S. military to use our models anymore, right? And this was in the end because of some details of legal paperwork, right? Like Anthropic wanted a highly clear restrictive clause saying their models couldn't be used to kill without human oversight ever, and saying their models couldn't be used for mass surveillance of the U.S. population, or probably any population. No, U.S. government didn't want to give them a legal agreement with that degree of clarity in it, the way Anthropic's lawyers wanted to write it. OpenAI went to meet with the U.S. government and agreed with something that was kind of similar, but had different phrasing in the legal contract. And, you know, so far as I know, U.S. government agencies are still using Claude right now, but this started a big adversarial back and forth between Anthropic and U.S. government, which, I mean, I'm a pacifist, right? But I'm a practical pacifist, and you know, I'm also Jewish. I can sympathize with Einstein, who was a pacifist, and then when he saw what Hitler was doing, he was like, well, okay, maybe there are times when you have to shoot back, right? Or you're just being stupid, and you're preserving your own principle for you know, a sort of ego or philosophical purpose. It's actually not compassionate, and not for the good of yourself, your tribe, your species, you know, the whole humanity. And so these are not such obvious matters. You can say AI should never be used to kill without human supervision. You could also imagine, you know, crazy military situations where the only way to save a lot of people is to have your AI kill someone without human supervision. I mean, you got some bad guy about to put his finger on the nuclear weapon that's about to blow everybody up. There's a drone overlooking that guy with a machine gun, and the drone is cut off from the internet. Now, the drone has a hard and fast rule: I cannot kill that guy without human supervision. Therefore, he must push the button to launch a nuke and blow up 1 million people or 1 billion people or kill everyone, right? I mean, in that case, okay, hold on. The drone should kill without human supervision, and that kind of situation is very rare. Then the question is, who makes that judgment call, right? Does Anthropic and their engineers make that judgment call? Well, okay, in some ways I might trust them better than the U.S. military in their ethics or in a certain direction. On the other hand, the U.S. military are, in fact, experts on this kind of issue, right? And if you look at the literature on AI ethics, there's loads of very well thought out papers and books and software prototypes written with U.S. military funding by folks with U.S. military affiliation, sort of wrestling with this sort of issue for decades and decades. Like, I lived for 9 years in D.C. I was doing consulting for U.S. Army intelligence. I could see there were serious efforts to think through all these issues and all their nuances with, indeed, much more depth than Anthropic seems to be exercising right now. So while I could see on a heart level like where Dario Amodei is coming from with all that, I could also see, I mean, why folks in U.S. military were like, we've been thinking about AI ethics of autonomous weapons for decades and sponsoring researchers and conferences on this, and now our policy is supposed to be dictated by these people who are newbies to the AI space based on their own philosophy and their own limited understanding of geopolitics, right? So anyway, there was all that. That resulted in the U.S. discussing export control restrictions on Anthropic, which seemed to have some conceptual difficulties to me. But anyway, all this is leading up to what happened now. U.S. government came out and said, no foreign national can use the Fable model, including Anthropic's own employees, right? And honestly, I don't know if that would apply to me because I'm a dual citizen. I was born in Brazil, though I grew up almost entirely in the U.S. So I am a foreign national. I'm also a U.S. national, right? So am I not supposed to use the Fable model? Well, it doesn't matter. I can't use it anymore. Like I logged into Claude, it's not there. I have to switch in the little box to Opus 4 point whatever thinking like I was using a few days ago. No. Anthropic obviously had to pull the whole thing offline. If this policy remains, you'll have to have KYC where you like upload your passport or something to use the latest language models, sort of like you do to get an online banking account or something, right? I mean, the issue here is even it's well-intentioned by the U.S. government. I mean, it's not going to work for the really important reasons that it might try to be addressing, right? Like, I can see how U.S. government might think, okay, if the single best cyber-capable model on the planet is just sitting there for anyone on Earth to use, well, your adversaries are there, right? Like if China, North Korea, Iran, whoever you're worried about, a terrorist network, get access to the best AI systems on the planet, their military gets them freely. Well, our military is hesitating and tied up in legal battles with our own AI companies, right? I mean, this is a genuine problem. You can think about it like we launched the world's best model. Our military can't use it because of this complex legal battle with our AI companies. Meanwhile, China copies our most complex model by a mix of reverse engineering, espionage, hacking, whatever. Chinese government can use our best model. I mean, it's a scary combination of things, right? So I can see a real national security worry being the motive for this ban. And I do remember, like when I was doing consulting for INSCOM way back when, I didn't have all the top clearances or anything, but I heard and saw a bunch of stuff around the community anyway. Like it was clear there were more super nasty, dangerous threats going on than I had realized before and than most people realized. So, I mean, the intelligence community was doing a lot of things I didn't agree with at that point. On the other hand, I could see they were defending against a lot of bad stuff that most people don't imagine. So I do understand the security risk that the government is reacting out of here. But the thing is, for any of us who've been in the crypto space for a while, like we know exactly how leaky a barrier KYC is, right? I mean, and a bunch of folks in the crypto universe have posted articles on this now. I mean, in the last 24 hours since this Fable thing unfolded. I mean, even before you had advanced AI, criminals were bypassing KYC, like they were just buying people's accounts, right? Like poor people will make an account and sell their account, right? And that happened over and over and over again. You can say it shouldn't. You should say we should stop it, but it's been happening in banking for a long time. And I mean, it's how various nasty terrorist groups and banned developing countries do money laundering and a whole bunch of other nasty stuff. So now once you have advanced AI, I mean, we have AI models that can bypass all these liveness checks that they do to get an online bank account. So, if you want to get an online account in certain jurisdictions, you have to go in a video chat with someone. They say, okay, hold up your passport. Hey, I'm Ben Gertzel. Here's my passport. Now move your head back and forth so we can see that you're alive, right? And at some point, that may have been real security. Actually, not great, but at some point, it may have been moderately effective security. I mean, now deep fake models can do that. Like you can have a human go on the liveness check, and you can use AI technology to paste someone else's face around their face in the video, and they can say, hey, I'm Ben Gertzel, here's my passport, and they will fool the bank on the other end that it's me, right? I mean, this technology already exists, right? And I mean, so it won't work to stop terrorists from accessing the model, right? I mean, it won't stop the Chinese government, who has funded a whole bunch of illicit activity online, or the Russian government. Like these actors are well known to be able to bypass KYC controls. It will stop like random user in England or Portugal from logging into the model. It won't stop global terrorist networks. And of course, you can step back a little further. Suppose KYC did work, which it doesn't really, but suppose it did. That still wouldn't keep the capability away from China, let's say. The capability doesn't stay put. Like, as we see, whatever the biggest, most expensive model can do, a small, cheap, open one can do a few months later. And, I mean, we've seen recently models with merely a few billion parameters can equal, the top nearly a trillion parameter models on, web search, many tasks. So if someone wants to make a smaller model that's just banging perfectly on hacking at the mythos level, I have no doubt in a few months someone can make a model that's mythos level at hacking, which is much smaller and cheaper. And I've seen people saying they have such models already. I haven't had a chance to test them out. And also, the best open models in the world now obviously are coming out of China. So, I mean, even if a smaller model doesn't copy the specific functionality, that's a worry. I mean, what's going to happen is 3 or 6 months later, China will come out with a Mythos plus hacking model and make it open for everyone, including random users in UK and Portugal. It's just going to mean world market share starts to go over to the Chinese from the US, because we're blocking random foreign nationals in a misguided, if genuinely intended, way to block terrorists, right? Now, you wonder how Anthropic is reacting to this. And on the one hand, you could say they shot themselves in the foot, right? Because they spent a long time telling everyone how, world historically dangerous this stuff was. And now the government is like, okay, we agree it's too dangerous. Now they're in the funny position of arguing, well, it's really not that dangerous after all. Yeah, we've seen this movie before, but on the other hand, it might be this falls into the category of there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? Like it might be that in the end, all this noise, including what the government did now and how the government will roll it back. I mean, maybe this helps Anthropic seem super powerful and helps with their forthcoming $1 trillion IPO, right? Like I'm not a marketing expert. I couldn't say that. But what I am an expert on, though, is the deeper mistake underlying all of this, which is arms race thinking, right? Like, we need the edge, unite to our rivals. I get the fear. There are evil terrorists out there. There really genuinely are. U.S. government, U.S. intelligence is really stopping them from doing bad things. I spent years of my life providing software that was supposed to help them with some aspects of that process, mostly information management. I didn't want to build software that would help kill people directly either. But I mean, you can't actually deny your technology to your geopolitical rivals. It's not a feasible thing to do except in a very limited way for a very brief period of time, right? So what the arms race mentality really does is it leads you to hobble your own side in the parts of the race you can't avoid, right? Like you don't want to be running an arms race to the extent we can't avoid an arms race given current geopolitics. You don't want to be running an arms race in a self-crippled way, right? Like the arms race is a trap. You don't win it by running in leg irons, right? So the alternative, as I keep saying, is open, decentralized, and accountable. Like you can't put the mind in the bottle. You can't put the AGI in the bottle. Maybe in principle in some science fictional world you can. In our actual world now, with the geopolitics and technologies we have now, you can't put the AI in the bottle. Like what you need is a distributed system in which the security comes with how the system's built, not from a big wall and a central gate, right? Decentralized identity, decentralized reputation, not Anthropic having a big database of everyone's passport that someone can just hack into and take everyone's passport, right? Distributed eyes looking at what bad guys might be doing instead of like a single watchtower that's always going to have an occluded view of somewhere, no single choke point to seize or breach, right? I mean, yes, if I make open decentralized AI, U.S. military will be able to use it, as will others. Like someone may do bad things with it, but the risk is coming. Bad guys are going to have the AI either way, right? I mean, the point is, if you make it open and decentralized, you can use intelligent blockchain-based AI design to make your big open decentralized network very, very hard for anyone to fork or copy in a way you actually can't do with the centralized functionality that can just be stolen by a hacker. I mean, in a way that's by now almost straightforward and enabled by the very hacking technologies that Claude has been advancing with the mythos model, right? So, I mean, and I wrote about this in a blog post on cryptographic laterality a few days ago. Like, how do you make a decentralized network more secure to forking and copying the decentralized network? Like, it's not totally obvious if you don't know a bit of AI and crypto, but it's a real technological solution, right? Anyway, a year from now, the pulling of mythos will look like a minor and conceptually clarifying farce, I think. We'll look back on it sort of how we look back at Sam Altman telling us GPT-2 was too dangerous to release. Like this will be the moment the lock it all down theory tripped over its own feet in a 1 week period. And my hope is that a year from now, the world will have more clarity that the safe future was never the walled fortress, right? The safer future was the open, decentralized network, not because that's a totally safe, risk-free future, but because this is, open, decentralized safety is the only version of safety that actually makes any sense in the real world. Like it's the only version that's achievable and actually resilient. Like the walled garden didn't even fail because the terrorists broke in and used the stolen weapons to destroy the world. The walled garden has failed because it couldn't keep itself operating effectively for 48 fucking hours, right? And anyway, this story will continue. I'll probably have a different thing to say on it in another week or two, but I wanted to get out my seat of the pants first reaction.